So here's the best way to stand out in a crowded market. Some markets have millions and millions of people in them. There's just a lot of people who are selling very similar things, right? A lot of people who have similar offers, a lot of people who are similar to you, similar to your business, similar to what you do. So there's three ways in which you can differentiate yourself within a crowded market so that you can make more space, so that you can attract more customers, so that you can essentially, stand out, even if there are lots and lots of people who are seemingly selling very similar things to you. One is you can do it through your brand. The second is you can do it through your messaging. And the third is you can do it through more angles. Let me go through all three of them quickly. First is brand. That's your first option, is you can change your brand. You can change the way your brand looks, change the way your brand feels. This is beyond like logos, colors, type fonts, although that's super important. What you really want to ask yourself, you don't want to just make some sort of sweeping random change. You want to say, how could I make this feel different than other people in my space? So for instance, if you sell a fitness offer, you might notice that a lot of people use blue in their logos, or use a certain kind of font, or use a certain kind of photo, right? Where it's like, this is my before and after, and it's sort of very cliche. If you change those things, you're essentially changing your brand and how you show up. And that is one of the first ways that then when people see your ads, or they land on your website, or they look at your Instagram, they're going to automatically feel a little bit different about you than about somebody else. And when you're deciding what kind of brand changes to make, you want to think about two things. One, how do you want to make people feel? That's the first part. Two, who your ideal customer is and how they will resonate with it. So let's say you have a fitness offer, but you're also really into metal music. I'd recommend that you could take your brand slightly more metal, slightly more black, slightly more edgy, more silver, more chrome, and maybe like there's like a guitar in the background or something. That is how you would then take your brand to a place where most people aren't just going to be, where most of the people in your market aren't naturally going to have brands that show up that way. Obviously, it should be authentic to you, so don't just do that because you think that that's going to win. It's really about finding that intersection between what you naturally like and what your audience will feel when they see it, and understanding, okay, sure, the brand might push some people away, but some people are going to actually feel closer to you. You're going to end up standing out more. And again, this is all about how to stand out in a crowded market. So that's method one. Method two is through your messaging. So let's say you keep your brand the same. The next thing that you'd want to do in a crowded market is to change how you're showing up with the words that you're saying. So from a messaging perspective, I'll just stick on this fitness thing because it's easier to understand. Let's say someone says they help people lose weight, or they help people get six packs, or they help people do water fast diets or whatever. What you want to do is slightly tweak your messaging so that it's even more original. So instead of saying, I help people get six packs, you would say, I help people lose stubborn belly weight so that they feel great being topless in the summer. Messaging is really about the story that you're telling and the way that you're telling it. And it is one of the most powerful ways to stand out in a crowded market, because you want to find things that not everyone is saying and say them in a unique way that either you, if you're a personal brand, or let's say you just got a business brand, only that brand would say. And it's kind of core to that brand voice element. Brand voice is what helps you stand out in a crowded market, because you're going to automatically say things that other people may not say or think to say. And the messaging and the brand can work together in order to be as unique as possible, so that when someone's shopping around, even for like roofs or something, they're going to be shopping around, they're like, okay, well, this guy says that he'll replace my roof, but this guy says that he'll give me the roof of my dreams. Basically the same offer, different messaging, okay? Third way to do this is through more angles. So if you are in a crowded market and you're really like, okay, my ads aren't hitting, people aren't converting on my site, any of those things, people aren't responding to my social content, it's going to be about the angles that you say. So let's say your messaging is, I help people get six packs. Underneath that, your angles are the reasons that people would want it. So most people are going to be stuck in the same top level angles. Insecure about their body, or they want to do it because their wife or partner is no longer interested in them or whatever. Those are all classic sort of fitness angles that most people are just putting out and talking about. So what you want to do, whether it's listening to the sales calls you have, reading comments on your Instagram or on Reddit, or just doing general research, or even just talking to your market more and recording those conversations, you will find more angles, more reasons to buy, more specific things that you can say so that you start to stand out to people who are just bored of the same messaging. You know, we scroll on Instagram, we see ads, we're just like, oh great, you're gonna get me high ticket clients, like, or whatever, right? It's like we get used to the same messaging over and over and over. And so when you put new angles in, you start to widen out your total addressable market, you start to, or your TAM, you start to widen out how people see you. And so even if your space is really, really crowded, you can still make content that hits, you can still make ads that convert, you can still stand out. When someone's looking at your business in a lineup, they'll actually be like, oh, you know what, this really resonates with me. There are so many reasons people buy things, and there are so many ways you can always reposition no matter how crowded your market is. I mean, look at that water brand, Def, whatever, I'll put it up here, that one that came in a can. It's like, you would think that bottled water is the most saturated market on the planet, and yet they made a multi-million-dollar company off of something that you'd think was just totally dead in the water. Who would reinvent this? And yet they did it through branding, they did it through packaging, they did it through messaging, they did it through angles, and they did it through their creative, which is taking all those things and then putting them into visuals, you know, photos, videos, or whatever, right? That then created a whole open market space for them. So even if you are in the most crowded market of all time, there is always something you can do. Go back to those 3 pillars. Either shift the brand, shift the messaging, shift the angles, or honestly, do all of them. And then when you start to stand out more in your crowded market, you're going to attract more customers just like that. See you in another one.